Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, guten morgen, bonjour. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you today? This is Ken at 10, broadcasting live for you every weekday from our offices in Southwest London. We are James Alexander Estate Agents. We sell, let and manage property all around the area in Southwest London. And we have, to give you a geographical idea of where Norbury is, we sit squarely between Streatham to the north and Croydon to the south. How are you today? Hope you're well. The football, what about it? Much better game, wasn't it? Saka, where did he come from? Fantastic. Grealish, oh, goodness me. What a great game. Let's hope it continues. Might be a little bit more difficult when we come across Italy, Spain or France or Germany, but let's see what happens. Looking forward to it anyway. So good result for England. Come on, England. Apart from that, the weather here in Southwest London is beautiful. It's a real crisp day today. I'm glad about that because I've got a Homes Under the Hammer second look today. We have two parts when we do Homes Under the Hammer appearances. One is when you first go along and have a look at the property before it's all done, and then obviously after they've completed it, and then you give an estimation on what you think of the project, how they've done it, what you like, what you don't like, and give an opinion on values. So today is the second visit, and that's at 11 o'clock today in Southwest London. I can't tell you exactly where, but it's actually in SW17, and quite an interesting one, a project of a house bought at auction that they've done loads of work to. So looking forward to seeing what they've done and how it compares and giving some values, because the BBC is fantastic for us. It's great advertising, you know. You can't get better than that. By the way, if you're watching for the first time or even the second come to that, please do like, share and subscribe. It's how we grow our channel. We're grateful to you for doing so. Thank you very much. Now on to property news. House sales dropped between April and May, which shouldn't really be any surprise to anybody really that sales have dropped off. Realistically, if you bought in April or May, it's unlikely you're going to make the deadline of the end of June for the stamp duty holiday. And therefore we expected a slowdown, and that's certainly come to fore. And the stats are from the ONS, the Office for National Statistics, which collates these things, reveals house sales fell by 3.9% between April and May to 114,940. The number of houses sold was up from 95,960 in May 19, while property prices rose at a record pace as buyers reassessed their living needs during lockdown. The stamp duty cut for 500,000 of properties' values helped to fuel the market as have record low interest rates. The pace of growth is expected to slow in the coming months as stamp duty relief is withdrawn, but analysts said that the housing market momentum would remain strong. In London, properties in Barnet and Richmond saw increase over 9% last year, while the City of London Westminster reported that prices were down, with demand for city centre homes weakening. Interesting, isn't it? What we've been saying for some time, the migration out of the city centres and into the surrounding suburbs has been massive. Mortgages, an interesting one. You know, we talked a lot about the bank of mum and dad in the past. What about the bank of granny and granddad? That's something that's interesting. And this is an article in the Daily Mail. Grandparents gifted £324 million during the stamp duty holiday, mainly by way of refinancing their own homes. And what they've done is, on average, given away £50,000 to their grandchildren. And Will Howe, Chief Executive at Key, says, with the stamp duty holiday giving people an unprecedented opportunity to get on the ladder, the Bank of Gran and Grandad has stepped in to help finance it. That's interesting because we were talking a while back about grandlords, and this is a term that I coined some time ago for, you know, nans and granddads that have decided that their pension could do with a supplement because it's earning nothing in the bank with low interest rates. And many of them have turned to property as a suitable asset class because, you know, you've always got the underlying asset. Even if prices were to dip or rise slightly, rents tend to be fairly consistent. And going on from that, London rental prices, if we look at that, an article in City AM today, rents in London are now 68% higher than they were at the time of the financial crisis in 2008-9. This is data from Ascend Properties. It reveals in the wake of the 2008-9 economic downturn, the average rent stood at £977 per month. It is now £1,638 per month. MD Jed McPartland noted that while COVID uncertainty has created a tricky landscape in some respects, we remain a world away from the financial crisis of 2008, and many remain reliant on the rental sector in order to live. Absolutely. And it has been a solid asset class, you know, right through recessions. You know, we found that it's certainly been much more stable than most predicted. A new article in the Express says that a housing crisis is a priority. And basically, this is a guy called Stephen Pollard writing, the current planning system is bureaucratic, fragmented, and outdated. It concludes that housing is a key priority in all our lives, and that it's crucial that we have a system that works. Well, it is, and it doesn't, which is one of the reasons why property investment is such a strong asset class in the medium to long term. An interesting one I saw in The Economy as well, and this comes from BBC News and the Financial Times. More than 5 million people became millionaires despite the pandemic, no doubt partly on the back of rising house prices. Many poor people, of course, became poorer. Millionaires, the number of millionaires increased by 5.2 million to 56.1 globally. In 2020, more than 1% of adults worldwide were millionaires for the first time. Anthony Shorrock's economist explained that if asset price increases such as house prices were removed, then global household wealth may well have fallen. Yeah, absolutely. So, it just goes to show how interlinked the property market and international wealth has become. It is another source of that diversification of investment, which is also important no matter what you're into. Part of your asset class, in my belief, should be in property, because it gives you the stability and, most importantly, the hedge against inflation that we all need. If inflation runs at 5%, let's say, and you've got 100,000 in savings, then every year you're losing £5,000 relative to what your money can buy you. So you'd need something that will hedge against that, and average rents do that. So, it is a way of protecting your money rather than getting the measly 0.5% in the average bank account. Apart from that, quite a busy day today. Lots of valuations in the afternoon as well. Certainly slowed down a little bit. A lot of our work now is around trying to push those sales over the line, because actually we have just 8 days remaining now, 8 days before the end of the holiday. So there's a lot of stress out there. A lot of solicitors are getting a lot of grief. A lot of them are handling it well, I have to say. Some are handling it very badly. Some are handling it by just not responding to inquiries, which is not helpful. Something else that I wanted to raise, because it happened to us recently with a viewing. One of our vendors asked us a question, which we don't often get asked, but I do think it's critical that you have the answer. Should I accompany the agent when they're taking an applicant around my property? And the answer is most definitely not. Buyers feel very awkward when a seller follows them around, and the agent's there as well. There's a little troop of people behind them. Number one, from a pandemic point of view, it's not entirely helpful. But number two, buyers can feel a little intimidated when a group of people follow them around and say, oh, don't tell them about this. And by the way, have you seen this cupboard? I'm a great believer that when it comes to property, the selling job is not in selling them the wonderful view. Look at this wonderful view. The selling in that is done via the photography and the media prior to the viewing. They already know the view's wonderful. That's why they're doing the viewing in the first place. So the things that are obvious that they can spot for themselves, let them spot and enjoy for themselves. Don't forever be looking in cupboards and saying, and look at this wonderful space, and look at our wonderful garden. That kind of oversell puts us Brits off, because we don't like the thought that we're being sold to, in my experience. I always say to my guys, when you're on a viewing, it's 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen to what people are saying. If they've got something negative to say about the property, then back it up with something positive that you know about the house, or the reasons why they may be misguided on that particular issue. But certainly don't be kind of ramming things down their throat and saying, oh, and look at this, and isn't this fantastic? Let them draw those conclusions. This is the lounge. They know it's the lounge. This is the kitchen diner. They know that. So from my point of view, I'd always say, if you're selling your house and you've got an agent, they should be happy to do the viewings for you. And if they are doing the viewings for you, let them do their job. It's what they do. They know how to play it better than the average customer, and therefore, let them do their job. And I would say, if you follow around your applicants as well as the agent, you can find that you actually weird out or put off potential buyers. So, if your agent says to you, can I do a viewing at this time on this day? My advice is, if you can, kind of get out of the way. Let them do their job. If you can go out, even better, let them do their job. They can call you when they're done and give you the feedback afterwards. Keeps the stress down for you. And we find that's the best way of doing things. I hope that's helpful. Apart from that, I hope you have a fantastic day today. Enjoy the sunshine. We'll be back tomorrow with another Ken at 10 as usual. Until then, stay safe, look after your family and friends, and have a fantastic day.